getting several questions after my 4-week post on Instagram and Facebook about what is keto. Like, wow, I see you're actually losing. Like, what is this? What does it consist of? How do I get started? How did you get started? What did you do? How do you like it? You know, or I always wanted to try that diet, but I don't think I can do it. Or I feel like, or like some people have issues in terms of like the fatty foods or X, Y, Z, just a bunch of myriad of questions. Or what is keto? Like, what does it mean? When you say ketones, when you talk about macros, what in the world are you talking about? Like, you sound like a science professor. Guys, well, I'm going to use this video today to just let you know, like, just the ins and outs of keto basis what I understand. And I'm going to make this clarification now that I have done my own research in terms of what is keto, what I can and cannot have, and then what does it mean for your body to be in ketosis, and what do you need to do to make sure that your body stays in ketosis. And in terms of that, and it's because that's when you will be losing a lot, dropping weight fast, and you're dropping because your body is burning fat as you continue to keep your body in ketosis. And how do you keep your levels up and things like that? And then what happens when you do kick yourself out or you mess up in that regard? So that's what this video is going to be about today. So follow along. Okay, so we're going to start with ketosis. Like, what, when you talk about keto, when we say keto diet, what does the ketogenic diet mean in terms of just what does it mean? So I'm not going to read you all like the scientific definition, because you all are very much so able to Google, right? But even when we Google, it's like my kids. We Google and it's a bunch of words that you don't know what they mean because you are not a science teacher. You did not major in science in college. Or just better yet, even if you did, you don't feel like having to dissect all those words in the definition. So when we say a ketogenic diet, we're talking about ketosis, the state of ketosis, and with ketosis, you're talking about ketones being released in your body. Ketones, these are small fuel molecules in the body, and this happens when you eat fewer carbs and the main source of your blood sugar. What does that mean? That means that, okay, so I am now limiting my amount of carb intake. So your body, let me go back, I'm sorry. Your body uses the blood sugar and it burns glucose to create energy in your body. We all know that. That's why they say your brain needs carbs to survive, and when you're working out, you need carbs because your body burns the carbs for energy. And if you don't have the carbs, then you won't have a lot of energy, you won't be able to do anything. Well, that's not necessarily true. And I am now a living proof. I am living proof of that. That's not necessarily true. So I eat as minimal amounts of sugar. Anything with sugar, I do not eat it. So I eat as minimal amount of sugar as possible. Most sugars that I eat come from either a vegetable or some kind of like base or sauce, because it's very hard to avoid to get to 0 sugars, but you try to get, I have like a set goal, like 5 grams at the max. Like if I'm 5 grams, and that's like net carbs, and that's like, you also have to calculate your fiber and your macros. And to be honest with you, I use the app to do all of that, because I'm not about to, even though I'm a math teacher, I don't want to add all day. Let's just be for real and subtract and X, Y, Z, you did this many carbs, you have this much fiber. No. So you use the app because they do it for you. So no need for that. But anyway, so I've limited my carbs. And so what happens in your body is that your first source of energy is typically glucose, right? So you eat carbs, you eat sugar, your body burns that sugar, but you're also eating fatty foods as well. But the fat is staying because your body has a fat hormone in it that helps you store fat. And your body's storing fat because just in case something happens, our bodies are smart. So it stores fat because we can survive on that fat for like, I say weeks or even months without, let's say it's something you have to starve or whatever. So that's why it's really hard. Like when we starve, you still can live without food for a couple of weeks or a couple of days because your body has stored fat. So there's one way to get into this ketosis. Either one, you can fast and never eat again. That's not realistic. Or you can choose keto, meaning you lower your amount of carbs, you have moderate protein. Now, I have seen people say that if the fatty foods, somebody was like, well, the fatty foods make my stomach hurt or something. And then someone said, well, you can eat lean meats. Well, here's the thing. If you have fat on your body to actually remove. The problem is if you eat too much protein, protein turns into glucose, and then your body then chooses to burn that glucose instead of burning the fats. It's the whole purpose of keto. So in that regard, I'm not sure how that works. I'm not testing that, but it may work for some people. I know for me it doesn't, because if you all remember before, I got kicked out of ketosis 1 week, and it's because I took in too much protein and not enough fats. So you have to take in moderate protein from my diet, from what I am following in terms of keto, for me and what I understand. Also, let's talk more about the fat. So your ketones are produced by your liver. So what happens is now I'm not taking in carbs. So my body then breaks down those fat store hormones that are in my body. It breaks those down. So now that it decides to burn fat instead of having amounts of carbs to burn, which is a natural process. Okay, so your body has two ways to survive. It once chooses glucose to survive and burn energy, and that sends fuel to your brain as well as the rest of your body to help your organs continue to maneuver. Well, when you get rid of the carbs, or you lower, I'm not getting rid of carbs, mind you, I do eat carbs. Now, please understand that. I just stay within a very small amount. So I try to stay under 20 grams of carbs, but 25, I might, if I go over one day, it doesn't mess me up. I just make sure that I incorporate a little bit more fat. Here we go. So, but typically 20 to 25 grams is about 5 to 7% of your diet on a daily basis. So, and because I'm not taking as many carbs, my body has now chosen to use that stored fat. So your liver takes in the fat, and then it transitions and converts it into ketones. And then the ketones are then released in your bloodstream. When this happens, that means that your body is burning more fat. Now, mind you, so there are two ways for you to enter ketosis. You can starve yourself and not eat anything, or you can choose the ketogenic diet where you don't eat as many carbs, so that way your body is forced to go into the second state of natural burning and survival, which is ketones. And let's talk about like the brain, like I don't know in terms of what people have said, or like what the rumors are about keto, whatever, and how they say like you need carbs, your brain needs carbs. But your brain can use ketones to burn. And what tends to happen when you think about carbs is carbs are only stored for maximum 2 days in your body. So they have to quickly burn those for you to be able to utilize those in your brain and things like that. And when you deprive yourself of carbs, what tends to happen is, of course, you tend to start forgetting things. You get sluggish. You get tired. Notice that's what happened to me when I was switching over from a regular diet, not even a diet, just a regular eating carbs, fat, whatever I was eating, to a low carb diet. But once your body switches into ketosis, you start to have more energy. You're moving up. Your body feels healthier. You're able to do things. You're focused. So your brain starts burning the ketones, using the ketones as fuel instead of using the glucose in which you were already using. And I know this sounds like a lot in terms of the science, but the reality is the basic breakdown is, you lower your carbs, your body no longer has glucose, which is sugar, to burn for energy. That's basic. So because your body no longer has sugar, it goes and travels to those fat stores in your body. That's all those fat stores that you have. Like if we're the whole purpose of doing keto is because we want to burn fat. Your body goes to find those stores of fat and starts to burn that for energy. And because it's now burning fat off your body, you're dropping weight excessively and fast. So, and then you have energy, you do whatever, you can do whatever you need to do, you get it done. My brain works perfectly. I start to remember things better. I'm clearer. I'm less stressed. Like, just a lot of positive things. Let's also talk about, like, this is a great diet for people who have high blood pressure. It's a great diet for people who have diabetes. Great for people who have epilepsy. These are proven things. Like, this diet has so many positive factors for it. Now that we've done the basics of science, so I'm not trying to keep you on. Now that we've done the basics of science, let's talk about just like on a daily basis. Now, I've already posted a video of my basic things I have in my pantry and in my kitchen for me. But the basic things is to know, when you're doing keto, you stick to a 75-25% ratio. 75% is fats, good fats, healthy fats. So if you are vegetarian, so you don't eat a lot of meats, and you're pescatarian, you can have seafood, but then you talk about avocado oils and just avocados and all of those other vegetables that have fatty, having fatty components in it, very high fat. And then you have 20% moderate protein. Again, you have to watch your protein because protein can turn into glucose. And mind you that your body's number one choice is to burn glucose before it burns fat. So if you get to a point where you put too much protein in your body's going to choose to burn that protein over burning the fat. Hence, you start gaining weight. Why am I gaining weight? Well, because you call yourself on a ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet says, hey, you have to eat high fat. But if you eat too much protein, so you've eaten all this fat, and then you've eaten all this extra protein that you shouldn't have in a day, and so now your body's choosing the glucose from the protein, which is going to choose that first. It is. Your body's naturally going to choose that first, even though choosing fat stores is also a natural occurrence. I'm not forcing my body to do anything. I'm not taking any keto pills. Like, I'm not doing any of that. But the natural thing is for it to go and burn those glucose. Well, what happens to that fat you just ate? It sticks to your body. And what happens? You tend to gain weight. You will gain weight. And this happened to me. You will gain weight. So you have to make sure that you watch that. Now, how do I watch that? I log it in MyFitnessPal. And and then of course it's not always perfect. That's the thing about it. Like, keto is not going to be perfect. It is not a one-man show that works for one thing, works for everybody's bodies. But what has been proven in terms of the research that I watched on YouTube, read articles, family members have sent me like what you can and can't have, those type of things. Based on all of that, you just don't like it's what I use and it's what works. You know, and I'm disciplined and I'm strict about my diet. I really am. Like, to be honest, I really am. Like, you can ask friends I have, and you probably know them all, but just, I am really strict about it. If you follow me, you see that I am really strict about what I do. Now, I also cook a lot now. Like, I cook because, here's the thing. I want to have pizza and chicken wings and stuff like French fries and stuff like that. Like, I do. Those cravings don't necessarily go away. So how do I fix that? I decide that I'm going to find me some keto recipes that allow me to have some of the same style of things to get me what I need, instead of indulging in some starchy French fries, things that I shouldn't have anyway. They're not good for your body anyway. And some people, like, I was doing like homemade fries, and let's just be for real. You want to go to the fast food restaurant, pick you up a double cheeseburger and a large fry. Well, okay. Let's talk about all the processed foods out there. Like, all this stuff is processed, the GMO. It's just a lot of things going into fast food. I still eat out. I drink. I go out with my friends. I don't miss out on many things because of keto. Yes, I am on keto, and yes, I am disciplined about what I do. So when I do drink, I drink a glass, maybe a glass of wine, and maybe not finish that. So either a Merlot, a Chardonnay, a Pinot Grigio, or Blanc. Those are the only 4 types of wine that I indulge in, because the other ones are all sugary. So I don't indulge in Moscato and all these other types of wines. It's not going to happen. Or if I have spirits, if whatever, you get a shot of whatever you want, or a glass of whatever you want, a whiskey, a vodka, Tito's, tequila, whatever you like. If you so to indulge in alcohol, you can have those. But you just gotta watch what you do. Of course, you're not gonna do it excess, but they have zero. Like, tequila has 0 calories. Make sure it does have 0 calories, like a Patron. I typically go for the higher end priced alcohols, because I know that they have 0 or limited amounts of calories, and definitely 0 sugars. So those type of alcohols is what I drink when I'm out. And again, I'm not indulging to get drunk. I'm only out in terms of social, because I drink on a social occasion. What else? Oh, how did I get started? My aunt was doing it. She sent me what I couldn't have, and I researched the rest. She sent me a list and a book that she had of what the things I could not, what I could have. So only the things I could have. I could have X, Y, Z, these type of vegetables. No, I can't have these type of fruits. Blah, 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 blah. I took that. I went to the grocery store, got things that I could have, stored them in my freezer, in my refrigerator, got my pantry together, and then I just went from there. No, I did not have those keto test strips when I started keto, because we did not have necessarily access to those over here in the UAE. If you're in the States, you have access. Take it behind Walmart, Walgreens, CVS. They all carry the keto test strips, ketone test strips. You want your body to be in a high level of ketosis. high levels of ketosis between that 8 to 16 in a range, that means that your body is consistently burning fat, and what you tend to see. And if the more fat you have, of course, the more weight you'll lose from the jump. But keto is for all sizes. If you feel like you got a little extra fat that you want to lose and you want to get a little leaner, then therefore you will benefit from keto. Whereas I may average 8 or 9 pounds a week, you will average maybe 3 or 4 or 5. That's still a lot. Have you seen 5 pounds of fat? It's still a lot. So in that regard, any other questions? Oh yeah, like they said, somebody said, well, what happens? What do you do about the fatty foods? Well, one, to cut it, I do apple cider vinegar, but another way to cut it is sparkling water. Sparkling water, of course, is carbonated. That carbonated cuts that fat in your body, but I have to add stevia to it because I completely do not like sparkling water by itself. So that's one way for me. In terms of other things, trying to think. Other questions. Okay, so I talked about like the 20, 75, 5% rule. I talked about what keto is. And I talked about how to a daily basis. So on a daily basis, also with fasting. So I also now incorporated fasting because, mind you, when I told you at the beginning of the video, there are 2 ways to enter ketosis. You fast and you don't eat anything. Or you 2, choose keto. But putting them together, you get double the results. So what I do is intermittent fasting, meaning I only have an 8-hour window to eat in the day. I eat from 12 to 8. That's how I started off. Now, I might move it up or whatever, but I started off, I eat from 12 to 8. If you're not in the window of 12 to 8, I am not eating. Meaning when I wake up in the morning, I do not eat until 12. And I try like 7 o'clock to stop eating. Because if I do 7 o'clock to stop eating, it then allows me to figure out, look at my macros and make sure everything is added up, and if I need to add a little more fat because my protein levels are too high or my carb, whatever, my percentages aren't acting right, I can then know how to fix that. In terms of a fat bomb really quickly, or saute something in some butter, or just any kind of way like that. So just trying to determine that. That's what I use that last hour. So I typically try to stop eating by 7 o'clock. But other than that, that is my regular day basis. I hope that answers a few of your questions. I'm not sure. But I thank you all for watching. I appreciate the response from my 4-week journey. For those of you who have not watched any video, I have lost 24. Well, when I did the last video, I have lost 24.2 pounds as of that last video. Of course, now on this video, I've definitely lost more than that now. But that update will come at the end of this week. So thanks for all watching. I hope this helps, and talk to you later.